Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Triangle Offense. I am Munish, and as always, I'm joined by Nishant. Fun day in the NBA. The Warriors finally won,
Yeah.
beat the Spurs in a stadium that they never, in a stadium that they never win, a building that they never win. They finally won. The Sacramento Kings ran the 76ers close. Miami Heat and Knicks played out a thriller, and I want to talk about the Knicks in today's episode because we never do the Knicks. They when were the last relevant during
Which
Patrick
is,
Ewing?
which is sad because everyone in the league does the Knicks. Usually. Every
The
team
Knicks
does the Knicks. It's just we who don't do the Knicks.
Yeah, Knicks is it's good for the NBA when Knicks is good. When NBA is taking a bashing, I think when all the ratings are taking a bashing, I think that's when Knicks comes to their rescue
Sure.
because huge fan base, huge market,
Yeah.
they should be doing well. But it's been a long time since they've been doing well. Uh, First of all, Derek Rose, big name acquisition. I mean, returns back to the Knicks, reunites with his old coach Tom Thibodeau. But apart from that, the Knicks have been doing well. I mean, we'll come to Derek Rose trade, but Knicks were in the top 8 until they lost a close game against the Miami Heat yesterday.
Right.
That could have gone either way. Miami Heat are terrible in their own way, but Knicks have been surprising everyone. When we did our early predictions, I think we ranked them 14th, just about Detroit Pistons, who were 15th, and that we got right. But the Knicks have been surprising everyone, haven't they?
Yeah, no doubt. Oh man, so many thoughts around this. First of all, Derek Rose and Thibodeau, that's a whole love story of
Yeah.
another level. They've There's never been a franchise where Thibodeau's gone since Rose has come into the league where they've not teamed up at some point. So that's a whole love story unto itself. If anyone knows Derek Rose's value, it's Thibodeau. A. Big name acquisition, sure. It's a big name. Okay, cool. Like
Yeah.
once upon a time, quite big, huge for a brief point in time. But I, I hate to say it, and I love Derrick Rose. He's the till date the only player name jersey that I've ever spent
Hmm.
money on ever. Not even Kobe. So I'm a big fan, but he's well past his prime. I don't want to say washed up, but he has been ravaged by injuries. So if you're getting Derrick Rose, sure, you'll get a starting caliber point guard. Still, in a team like that, you're still starting caliber. And if your alternative is Elfrid Payton, then you're double starting. Like you should start twice and then again on Sunday. Uh, and we'll come to the downside. But look, I think they've got to be realistic with their expectations here. One thing that's really helped the Knicks this season,
Hmm.
along with breakout performances from Julius Randle and a couple of the rookies, younger players, is the fact that they've defended really well as a team. Like we don't know what alchemy it is that made Thibodeau turn this team into a team that defends, but won their top 5, top 6 defense last we checked. So
Yep. Yep.
that's a big factor. Now I don't know how much Derrick Rose would be a detriment to that. Because as
Hmm.
much as Elfrid Payton can't shoot, and he really can't shoot on most nights, he's an average to above average defender. You get the hustle out of him. He's a good piece in a team defense.
Hmm.
Derrick Rose, we've not really seen much of that side of him. It's not that he doesn't put in the effort, it's just not his strength as such. So that's one. That's one key. A team that's barely in the top 8 is already overachieving, by the way. But that's
Yep.
barely in the top 8 from a playoff perspective. Losing to an extent the edge on defense, that could be a death blow to their playoff chances. But that'll be the interesting thing. The downside
Hmm.
is their rookie, their draft pick, one of their rookies,
Yep.
um, who was until recently getting some exciting minutes under his wing. And if Peyton continues to be Peyton, he probably would have started at some point in the season.
Yep.
But that kid has now lost his starting spot or potential starting spot rather quickly to Derrick Rose. Had to have come in somewhere. So so quickly, quickly his growth is going to take a hit from playing minutes maybe. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they start Derrick Rose off the bench in a lot of games and maybe use
Hmm.
him as like a kind of like how how Lakers used Randall last season. Sorry,
Right.
my bad. Rondo last season. Randall still in
Rondo.
the
Hmm.
Knicks. How the Lakers used Rondo last season, where you're an impact sub. You're the experienced guy. You've been to the playoffs. You've been deep in the playoffs. You know how it works, and great mentorship, right? For a rookie to learn from Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose has a basketball mind. Derrick Rose mentally absolutely knows how to get it done. It's just physically he's been so destroyed by injuries, and his game has been snatched away from him, that he doesn't have that athleticism and that speed that made him a menace and the youngest league MVP ever. But he still got, it's not like he can't ball, and he still got all of that wisdom and the experience and the tricks and the know-how that a modern day point guard should know, which is how to be a good playmaker, but how to be a lead scorer, really, because that's what the point guard position has evolved to be today. So great mentorship for Quickly, but the trade-off is he might lose a lot of playing minutes.
Or probably the Knicks don't intend to keep Peyton in there for long because he's been terrible. I've been watching a few of the Knicks games in the recent past, and I still can't understand why Quickly doesn't start, because Quickly was exciting when he came on. He's a rookie, yeah, but who cares? If he can get you points, he can get you good minutes, you should start him.
Yeah, but some of these, I don't know, some of these coaches are really old school that way, right? Like, I mean, Kobe Bryant had to wait 3 years to start, just because seniority. So maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, but I've been totally impressed with the Knicks. Like I told you, I've been watching the few matches, and Julius Randle, what a turnaround season for him. Mini Nikola Jokic kind of numbers. He's averaging 22 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. RJ Barrett, who was the top draft pick of last year, if you exclude Ja Morant and Zion Williamson, both of them have been balling out, and Knicks have been doing really well. I was actually impressed by the style of play, and yeah, it was Miami Heat and they ran them close, but Miami Heat no longer matter. But they've been doing well. I mean, I remember the game against Warriors; they absolutely balled out and got a blowout win against the Warriors.
Yeah, no, they've been surprising everyone. Everything about them has been surprising, right? I think RJ Barrett made a decent jump from last year, where you saw the talent, but the question was, okay, but how do you fit that into what the team needs and convert that into wins, which is often a challenge with a lot of young players. You see D'Angelo Russell. I'm not sure if he's still figured out how to translate his quite considerable talents into wins. How do you make that happen? So that's been a significant improvement from Barrett. And then Randall's just balling out. I mean, he's basically this year what Brandon Ingram was last year. That's as best as I can summarize it. And which is probably why I should take back all of the brickbats I threw at the Lakers for screwing up so many drafts. Because what we're seeing is, if you give them time and give them some mentoring to develop, Lakers actually made some pretty darn good draft picks. D'Angelo Russell, Lonzo Ball. Although with Lonzo Ball, it's not that he himself is a bad pick. It's that the Lakers could have had Jason Tatum, and there's no argument who the better player is. And then Randall was 6th, I think, in the draft. So the top draft pick that year, if you exclude the first 6, going by your RJ Barrett Zion logic. So great picks by the Lakers, translating to all of these amazing talents. Randall is he may have a very strong shot at most improved player, and he's clearly the guy carrying this franchise. When he got his contract, I bogged a little bit. I said, that's a lot of money to pay Julius Randle, because I've seen him at the Lakers and I like him. I really liked him at the Lakers. But I said he probably has a ceiling to his game. I didn't see him do this, lead an offense, even to a top 8 spot, this team. And then play make, rim protect, clean the boards. It's incredible. So I'm loving what I'm seeing. Maybe this is what Siakam should be doing a whole lot more, what Randall does for the Knicks, though he has picked up. But like, this is the level that the Raptors should expect from Pascal Siakam, because he can do it. The Knicks are surprising everyone, including maybe Thibodeau. It'll be interesting to see how long this lasts. And the only threat to this not lasting is them taking a hit on defensive capabilities if they drop, if they bring in Derrick Rose basically into the lineup. The more minutes he plays, the more hits they take on defense. That's really the only concern I have. But otherwise, I think it's a great pickup for them. They got him easy. It's not like they let go of the world to get Derrick Rose. If nothing else, but it really depends. If they rate Quickly highly, then this is great mentoring. Last thing I want, though, for the Knicks, and this is probably my closing thought, is I don't want Obi Toppin learning how to dunk from Derrick Rose, because Derrick Rose can teach him 10,000 things on how to dunk, and Obi Toppin absolutely has the ability to pull them off. But a lot of the stuff that Derrick Rose did was so risky. It put so much pressure on his. Granted, he had a smaller frame, but the last thing anyone should be allowing is Obi Toppin trying Derrick Rose type explosive dunks. But other than that, I think we're good.
Is it a realistic expectation to say Knicks has a play-in shot at least, like finish in the top 10 and get to the play-ins and let's see what happens from there kind of a shot?
Yeah, I mean, look, so if their defense holds up,
Hmm.
um, Elfrid Payton can't get worse as a shooter. It's mathematically not possible. Borderline. So if he can even marginally improve and they figure out whether he should start, he's a rotation guy, impact player, whatever. If they can fix that one piece, say with quickly, say with Derrick Rose. So then now you have, let's say Rose for argument's sake. So you have Derrick Rose, you have RJ Barrett, and you have Randall. That's a solid little triangle. They don't run the triangle, but that's a solid little triangle to lead their offense. And I don't see why not. In the East, I don't see why. If they were in the West, I'd say no way. But in the East, I really don't see why not. I think they have a definite shot at the playing games. From this point on, if they don't make the playing games, that's a miserable letdown.
Of course, I agree. And one more reason why I'm excited about the Knicks is that they're one of the few teams with a lot of budget remaining for the next season, right?
Yeah.
So they can go ahead, improve this team with one big
Yeah,
trade, and
nobody's
they
coming,
could
man.
definitely jump themselves up.
I've heard this since about 1995, and I've seen maybe two legit stars in or moderately close to their primes. There was once a Marbury, and then there was Melo. That's it. Nobody worth anything. And this was a franchise where Jeremy Lin became borderline Allen Iverson level famous, because that's how desperate they were for talent. It's going to be tough, but I'll tell you what, this team's trending in all the right directions. If you recall a conversation we had last season when the season was on about the Knicks, and I said they made some staffing changes to their front office, right? And the president, GM, whatever they're calling their designations now. These guys are. It remains to be seen how competent they are at running sports operations per se. But these guys are experts at being agents, at building a brand, at PR. And if the Knicks need anything in life, it's a PR makeover. It is a brand. Because that's what's stopping this image makeover is what is, or the lack of it, is what is stopping the stars from. Can you imagine in New York, biggest basketball market in the land, still, despite not winning Jack in God knows how long?
Yep.
And nobody wants to come there. For good money, nobody wants to come there because they don't think the org is professionally run. They don't think their negotiations are going to be correct. They don't think the org is going to prioritize putting winning pieces around them if they're a superstar to go get the chip. And so Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving marched down the street, probably crossed the road at a signal, and walked into the Nets stadium. That's a slap to the face. So whatever they're doing on the court, it's great. But I'm looking at the brand. I'm looking at how they're clearing up the image and showcasing themselves as a place where they've got some tradable assets. They've got a great core. Where as a superstar, you're thinking, I'm going to plant my talents there and we can build a chip winning or chip contending team around me. That's really between now and next season. That's the main thing for the front office to figure out and leave the coach to do the rest. Playing game, no playing game, whatever. This is what you've got to do for this season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch their progress, especially the Derrick Rose trade. I hope he gets a few more minutes than he was doing at the Pistons, and it'll be exciting to see him play at least a percentage of what he used to be.
I love it.
So that's all for the Knicks today, and that's all from me today. And I'll catch you tomorrow after tomorrow's games.
All right, man. Bye. Peace. Bye.